Here on Morning Live, 2015 is a crucial year for the African continent as many countries will be taking to the voting polls. In Burkina Faso, the interim president and the prime minister was held hostage by a former chief of spies, General Gilbert Diendere. Joining us now in studio is Izak Khomo, is SABC Channel Africa correspondent, to talk about the coup and other matters that are affecting our continent. Good to see you. Welcome to Morning Live again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's talk about what's happening in Burkina Faso now. Diendere asked protection at the Vatican embassy. Yakuba Isaac Ziba. I mean, it's like a movie, isn't it? It is something like that. The former prime minister allegedly assured the Vatican embassy that Diendere's life would be spared if he was handed over. What is the punishment for transgression, such as a coup in Burkina Faso?
I mean, he's faced more than a coup. I mean, he's also implicated in the death of Sankara. So there are many things, and also other deaths which took place, summary executions. So basically, he's got a long list of charges against him.
Yeah. So
basically, that's it. He should actually sort of face the music.
Yeah.
But one thing about the people of Burkina Faso, they tend to stick to the law. It's a group of people who are in power now, not in power, basically, who are running the show, who are really made up of civil society. And they are based in the rule of law, and that's the thing that they wanted. So we find that we'll see that the rule of law will be followed, and the due process will be followed.
Yeah. So we speak about the fact that the presidential elections are coming up. You know, where does this leave the country?
Well, the country is in a good state because basically the political parties, they're there, but again the civil society is there, and the political process is going on okay. There's no sort of, there's just sort of open contestation, political contestation. The only thing that may have delayed maybe is the electoral roll and things like that. But I think the elections can take place. But I think people have asked that they be postponed for a few days, a week or two.
Yeah. Now, I know you don't like to call it a coup, but just for the sake of the interview, let's keep calling it a coup. Who worked with Diendere on this?
It is a coup. Let's call it also a coup.
Okay, good.
Let's call it a failed coup.
Okay.
Yeah. Diendere, basically, he's a Compaore's person. Blaise Compaoré. Yeah. Yeah, and together, he was Blaise Compaore's strongman. And I think what happened is this, that the parliament had actually decided to dissolve the presidential guard. And that's what actually spurred off the coup. Yeah. And I think another thing is this, that what they wanted to sort of preempt, it was the opening of investigation into the death of Sankara. At the time when Blaise Compaoré, the former president, he had to run away, and he ran away from mass action by the same civil society. When the civil society called for an investigation to Sankara's death, Blaise Compaoré actually quashed it. So they did not want that thing to take place. So it's two of them, Blaise Compaoré and Diendere. But again, they've got a lot of support from Ivory Coast. Okay. As you can see, Blaise Compaoré is being harbored by Ouattara in Côte d'Ivoire. And again, with the investigations taking place now by the United Nations, it has been proven that the rebels in Ivory Coast to have been supplied, their arms are coming from Burkina Faso, supplied by Blaise Compaoré at that time and Diendere. So Ivory Coast is also involved in the whole thing. Okay,
so we've touched on these two countries, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, and their interaction with one another. Let's move on to Burundi now. And Burundi, as we saw, rocked by violence in April as well this year, after President Pierre Nkurunziza launched his successful and controversial bid for a third term in power. What is the cause of this eruption of violence? Well,
you see, Burundi is a very funny thing. I mean, I don't know if I'll have time to explain to you, but even though I'll try my best. You see, in Nkurunziza, what people do not know, the man is highly popular. That's the thing that people do not know. Nkurunziza has got a very big backing with the rural people of Burundi, and also with certain suburbs of Bujumbura. But then again, his support, it's ethnic. Yeah, he's supported by the Hutu majority. Yeah, his term, the people who were against him, they just did not want him. They did not want him there. They've got a point, which was taken to the Constitutional Court, And after that, the Constitutional Court decided to say that he could run for a third term.
Yeah.
I won't go to the reasons, but they've got very solid reasons for that. But then you find that the fissure lines, they've actually come up again. With the constitution, Burundi was supposed to have a sort of a government of national unity, where there are things like 50% of the army has got to be from the Tutsi, who just make up about 18% of the population, and many other things. But now we find that the Tutsi military men, officers, they're actually absconding.
Okay.
Yeah, and the most serious thing is that the people in communications have absconded, and they've absconded with equipment, communication equipment. So it's seen that these people are actually absconded, and they've absconded to Rwanda. They're going to set up a rebel army with a control and command structure already in place with the communication.
Just very quickly, I mean, do you see this turning into a gruesome civil war?
It's going to be a very serious civil war because it's involving already the neighboring countries, Rwanda, whether they're denying it, but they're involved in it. And also you find that places like Uganda, although they're far away, but they've started expanding their army. They're actually sort of recruiting. They're expanding the Ugandan army. And again, you find that this whole thing is going to overflow into the DRC, into Burundi, and also it may overflow into Tanzania.
Wow.
So there's a serious thing coming. It may blow up sometime next year.
Yeah, big repercussions for neighboring countries and for what's happening. But interesting, we're going to have to pull you back into studio because I know you mentioned Ivory Coast, but something we need to focus on is the fact that their election's also coming up on the 25th of October. So that's another focus point there, and a country that really has been divided between the rebel-held north and government-controlled south. So that's something we'll look at. But for now, we'll have to wrap it. Izak Khomo, thank you. Our SABC Channel Africa correspondent. Let's take a break. When we return, we've got a play out for you. They're called Empty. Stay tuned.